very much. In the meantime, you want to stop this charade once and for all, then I beg you folks, at least listen to this guy. He's the only official Republican candidate for president. I have a feeling that 16 or 17 others will join in soon. But what makes Mark Everson intriguing, at least to me, is he really doesn't care if you don't like what he says as he is running for president. Because this former IRS commissioner says, we can't keep dodging our money problems this way. There is a limit to this debt limit drama. And Everson says the drama stops here and now. Commissioner, here we are on another debt brink, right? What do we do?
We just have to start having candid conversations, Neil. That's what has to happen, and the politicians are not doing that. They're in the pockets of the big banks, so they don't take on Wall Street. They won't have a candid conversation about entitlements just because too many people get offended. But what we are doing now is we're not going to secure the future for our young if we don't move forward. I've got a bold plan for tax reform, but going with that, you absolutely have to means test benefits programs.
See, that doesn't go down well, Commissioner.
Right.
As soon as you talk about someone's ox gets gored, and they don't like it being their ox, right? So how do you explain that running for president, this is what I'm going to do? How do you sell that?
The only way you can sell it is to say, if we reform the tax code, we can keep the progressivity where it is by putting in a consumption tax, but leaving the income tax at lower rates in for the high end and bring down business rates. So you leave things where they are in terms of the distribution of wealth. You don't redistribute the wealth through the income tax. That'll help our economy grow.
Explain in a second. Okay, you talk about the income tax rate. For the top tier, it would still be, they'd still be paying it, right?
They'd still be paying it.
But it would be lower. It would be...
Yes, sir.
25%? Was
that? Down around 30, 31, okay. 32, something like that.
But they'd also be paying a consumption tax on top of that.
Of course.
Everyone else would be paying the consumption tax.
Correct.
And
then 150 million... 150 million wouldn't, I'm sorry, 150 million wouldn't be paying income taxes at all. So think about that, right? This time of year, everybody's all freaked out trying to do their income tax forms. They wouldn't have to do that at all, Neil.
All right. Now, average folks, meanwhile, would look at this and say, well, wait a minute, that's regressive. Those on the bottom end of the scale are paying these consumption taxes just like everyone else, but it hits them disproportionately, you say?
You can keep the progressivity, the distribution where it is, simply by putting the income tax in or leaving that in. And also you can set up smart cards to offset the EITC benefit that you've lost, and you can put child credits in through there. The proposal will keep things as is, but also I think it would go a long ways to, frankly, getting rid of a lot of the fraud we have in the system, Neil, which is a real problem.
Well, that's why the tax code, as you know, IRS Commissioner, is so thick, right?
Yeah.
Now, the wrath you're going to get on that is probably, you're already getting. I got some emails last time you were with him at Fox News saying, oh, he's out to destroy the common man, et cetera.
Not at all.
How do you explain that this helps the country when you're also talking about addressing entitlements, means testing some entitlements, maybe not giving them to those high up the ladder? What are you talking about?
Well, first of all, anything we do on our entitlement programs, you'd phase it in. The folks who are currently drawing benefits, they're not going to be hurt at all, nor would those who are approaching it. You'd phase it in over a period of years.
Like for what, the group 50, 55 and over?
Congress could draw the line somewhere in there. That's about right. And you do that just as we've done in the past.
But you're going to lose all the 49-year-olds.
Yeah, well, we've got 2 years before I get in, Neil, so we got a while.
But you also say you'd be a one-termer.
Yes, sir.
Why?
I just think that we've got way too much politics sloshing around in the Oval Office. I've served in 2 administrations, 6 years under Reagan, 6 years under Bush, the second Bush. By year 3, everybody's worrying about the reelection effort, and that is wrong. The presidency is a full-time job. The country deserves somebody who's thinking only about the national interest, not about self-interested reelection politics.
Well, it worked for President Polk, didn't it? All right. But here's the thing I want to ask you about that. Even if you're not running for reelection, everyone else in your party would be. So the attention would be on all the guys who are going to replace you. So isn't it the same thing?
I don't think so. I mean, if there's any one thing that President Obama has proven, it's that the powers of the presidency are considerable. Now, I think he's gone to the limit and beyond, in fact, in the way he's exercised his authorities, but the president is always relevant, Neil, particularly in the areas of national security.
Would you do the Ross Perot chart thing or show it? I always am convinced that People just need this spelled out. They need to know the direction we're on. Because when I talk to a lot of folks, and they're very bright folks, Commissioner, they just say, well, this debt, what is it? What are you talking about? It's like money we owe. What would you do if you were president? A series national addresses, spell it out, and what?
I do think that what we need to have, and I'm trying to start that in this campaign, is a conversation about issues that are going to catch up with us over time. So, yes, exactly. I think it's very important for the president to communicate with the people about broad concepts and issues. And look, the average family grapples with finances all the time. They don't say, well, we're going to pay this off in 50 years. They look at things on an ongoing basis. Right now, we just kick the can down the road, and it's not going to work. It's going to bite us.
What I like about you is you're embracing your IRS background, but it's sort of like playing off of the Ronald Reagan line, I'm from the IRS, and I'm here to help. But in your case, you're saying, I know all the tax revenue comes in. We get a lot of tax revenue in.
Right.
It's not an issue of money coming in, right? It's money going out.
That's exactly right. And, Neil, frankly, I think federal executive branch experience is relevant to doing the job of president. Because, after all,
you're going to be taking over these guys.
You're running the federal government, all the agencies in the federal government.
Would you shut down the IRS?
No, you can't shut down the IRS. Somebody's got to collect the taxes. That's just happy talk. You can make it smaller, you can make it less intrusive, but you've got to make sure that you're collecting those revenues that are needed to pay Social Security, that are needed to pay for our defense. So, yes, somebody's going to collect our taxes.
All right, Commissioner, thank you very much. All the nasty questions I asked on the IRS were actually my staff's idea. I think the IRS is doing a bang-up job. Anyway.